best way to start a Hall of Fame is early in the morning when I have to be quiet, especially when you're inducting Tiger Williams. Tiger Williams is a guy who, if he played today, I'd probably hate him. But you gotta give the man props. There's no more famous man. Still easily recognizable. Anything I've looked up, he still lives in Vancouver. He scored goals. He was a very capable NHL player. He wasn't just a goon. He used his stick a lot, liberally. There's an incident where he was in the midst of a fight, and then a fan fell into the penalty box, picked a fight with a fan, led to a bench clearing brawl. He got thrown out of the game. You can't blame him. You don't know if this fan's got a knife or a gun or who they are, so you just take him out. Ty Domi did it too. And I thought it was funny when Ty did it, and I wasn't a fan of Ty Domi. 35 goals in 1980-81. The image I'm using for the thumbnail for this video is from this jersey, because he most famously wore this jersey in Vancouver. But he was a Maple Leaf for a very long time. He put up 21 goals for the Leafs in 75-76. And then in the midst of a very good season in 79-80, he was traded with Jerry Butler to the Canucks for Rick Vaive and Bill Derlago. Of course, Vaive would go on to have a very successful career, and this would be viewed as a lopsided trade. At the time the trade was made, Vaive and Derlago were kind of spinning their wheels. The Canucks didn't see what they had. It's a problem they've had throughout their existence. Tiger went on to have a decent career, not Rick Vaive-like. He played a total of 962 games, 241 goals, 272 assists for 513 points. His career started in 1974, ended in 1988. He was number 31 draft choice in 1988. Of his draft class, he stands number 6 in games played, number 9 in goals scored, 17 in assists, number 14 in points overall. This while putting up 3,966 penalty minutes. For good measure, he also added 455 in the playoffs in 83 games. There's only one Tiger Williams. There'll never be another Tiger Williams. The Hanson brothers went about trying to get him inducted in the Hall of Fame. I think that hurt more than helped. If you're going to try to induct a guy, don't send characters from a movie out to do it, because it'll attract interest of those of us who've watched Slapshot. It'll attract interests of people who love that movie, but it won't attract the interest of the actual voters. I don't think Tiger ever makes it into the Hall. He got suspended 7 games in 1982 for hitting Billy Smith with his stick. I remember that. He and Billy Smith had numerous battles. They get along now. After their careers were over, they sort of buried the hatchet, so to speak. But at the time, they hated each other, and that was just part of the game. Tiger was a rat, and I don't think he'd have a problem with me saying that about him. He worked his opponents. He tried to get in their heads. He would talk to them. He'd hook them. He'd hold them. He was Ken Linsman before Ken Linsman existed, and he was a Ken Linsman who could throw down and beat up pretty much anybody. He was sexist. He certainly makes statements to this day that are offensive. He recently tore into Trevor Linden for the mishandling of the Canucks. And people report on it and people love it because locally, Tiger is still a revered figure. Tiger Williams will always be a revered figure in Vancouver. And likely for Toronto as well. If you're a Leafs fan, you can let me know in the comment section below if he's still revered in Toronto. And then he went on to play a part of a season with Detroit. Moved on to play with the Kings and finished up in Hartford. With the Kings, he had a 20-goal season in 85-86. 49 points that year. Yes, that's the live puck era. That's not the height of the live puck era. That was in 81-82, and that year, Tiger had 17 goals. He was a big part of the Canucks team that got to the Stanley Cup final in 82. He was part of the color, the personality, the underdog spirit that team had. So I couldn't start this. I couldn't start this Hall of Fame series without Tiger Williams. Because the very idea of this series, the genesis of this series, is that Tiger Williams will never make the Hall of Fame. But he should. It's not about inducting a guy for being tough or being a fighter. It's about inducting a guy because he is one of the most famous hockey players who ever played the game. And his stats aren't horrible, considering he's a goon. But he was so much more than that. So, I also want to mention a couple other suspensions. He was given an 8-game suspension in the mid-'80s for choking Paul Baxter with a stick. His defense was that Paul Baxter was a wimp, that he had no strength. Another suspension was for him hitting Scotty Bowman in 1980 with his stick. Apparently there's a fight going on. I haven't been able to find video of the incident. Actually, I didn't really look for video of the incident. So, Buffalo's playing against Toronto, and Scotty Bowman's leaning over to watch a fight. Tiger Williams is skating by and hits him with a stick. Tiger's defense for this was Scotty Bowman's job is to coach. As soon as he leans his head out over the boards to watch a fight, that's crossing a line. So, I hit him with my stick. I'm paraphrasing. But that's basically what he said. He's not a man to apologize. He kicked a woman out of the locker room because he didn't think women belonged in the locker room. This was back in the 80s. It was not an unpopular opinion back then. I can still sort of understand it. You don't have to be in the shower area anyways. But, back then, I don't think there was a big difference. So, Tiger was like, I don't want a woman in here. I might be running around naked. This is a men's room. Get out. Harry Neal allowed her back in. She goes to John Ziegler, who's president of the NHL at the time, and says, I want an apology. John Ziegler says, Tiger Williams, you will give this woman an apology. And Tiger said, nope. And Harry Neal issued her an apology instead. You have to admire a man who stands his ground, even if he's wrong. And by today's standards, he would be wrong. But again, dressing rooms back then were a little different. And I'm sure she would have got an eyeful back then. So I don't necessarily 100% oppose Tiger on this one. There's no better quote in hockey. He never gave your standard will be better next game. Oh, we gave it a good fight. Famously, when the Pittsburgh Penguins lost to Toronto, he said they were done like dinner. That's his most famous quote that I could find. And yeah, I mean, he did break his stick over the head of a Pittsburgh Penguin in the 70s. Again, that was the 70s. This was the bench clearing brawl, fans fighting with players era. He's a throwback. But if you're going to take guys out of the Hall of Fame for violent incidents, I would state that there are a lot of guys currently in the Hall of Fame, especially the older players, who you'd have to pull out. And there'd be riots if you pulled some of them out. You guys can read between the lines on that one. But it's interesting that he played in an All-Star game. He had 35 goals that one year. He had 20 goals for 3 different teams, for Toronto, Vancouver, and LA. Toughest player in the league. Nobody wanted to fight him, but everybody had to fight him because he didn't take no for an answer. The instigator role would have killed his career. Absolutely. Tiger was just, I'll drop my gloves and beat the crap out of you. And that's it. If you want to get the crap beat out of you, okay. But if you're going to fight, cool. But the fight's happening. Anyways, you guys let me know your thoughts in the comment section below. Don't forget to hit like and subscribe if you're just browsing your way through. And if Tiger happens to see this, you absolutely deserve a spot in the Hall of Fame. I've got Sharpie markers here that have numerous colors on them, and I'm going to make up little banners for Hall of Famers as I induct them. And this is just the first in the series. Thank you very much for watching, and I'll talk to you again soon.